morning we're gonna start out by building a fire. We're gonna be changing oil a little bit over on the oil change. So about 29 degrees outside. In here is not a whole lot warmer, but it will be in a little while. So I'm just gonna build me a little fire, try to get things warmed up. I'm not a whole lot at building fires. Don't do it real often. But I try. Just different little bits of paper. We'll throw some kindling wood in it here in a second. As soon as I figure out what I've done with it. Yeah, I know, I'm showing you my ball. Oh well. Let's see. Different types of stuff to give it different stages of burning. That's just a little wet. Okay, well, we'll put some coal. Oh, here we go. A little bit bigger pieces of wood. And a little bit of coal. I'll be back with you when the fire gets warmed up good. We'll get the truck in here, get ready to change oil and grease it. Okay, the old polo jumper sitting just out the door. We're gonna bring her in now. You'll be able to see that it is just a little bit cold out here. Ooh. Too cold out there for me. Oh, I love heat. Okay, now I'm getting ready to start this project slowly, very slowly. First thing I'm going to do is put it up on ramps to make it easier to access. Okay, in this, we're going to also be checking the transfer case and both rear ends to see how the grease levels or oil levels are in them. So I will also be putting this thing up on jack stands in the rear. Show you that process. Okay, now, I know there's some out there that'll say you're in a garage, you're on a level floor, why mess with jack stands? I don't want to hurt me. So, putting a jack stand in is not that big a deal. It don't take but just a second to place jack stands. And once you get them in place, especially on a good concrete floor, the vehicle's not going to fall. Now I can remove my jack. If I need it for something else, I've got it. Okay, I'm going to start out in the front here. This time I'm not going to be changing my air filter, but I am going to be checking and cleaning it if necessary. This Ford actually has a couple of clips. You pop the clips loose, work the air box off, and you check your filter. It's got a little rust on it, but it's not very dirty, but I will still use compressed air and blow it out. Okay, air filter cleaning. Basically, gonna use just a small amount of air. It's not very dirty, so it ain't gonna take a lot. And that's about it as far as cleaning. Now we'll reinstall the air filter, which is just the reverse of taking it out. Drop it in place, slide the air box back in place, which is sometimes difficult. Should have took the air box loose, but I think I will. It's a lot easier if you take the air box loose to actually get it in place. It consists of unplugging the plug, loosening that, popping it off. Now the air box will go back in place very simply. Well, sometimes very simply. Then just reverse the process. Plug your wire in, tighten the clamp up. And that's done. Okay, now we are underneath the vehicle, and I'm having to hold the camera by hand. So I'm going to try to do this and show you. Now this particular plug uses a 5/8 wrench. There are various different sizes for various different vehicles. I really don't know all the sizes, so I'm not even going to try to tell you. I just know mine uses this one uses the 5/8. My other vehicle uses a 15 millimeter, but different ones use different sizes. You can do this. Yes, ladies, you can do this too. Okay, you know, when you do an oil change, it's also a good time to top off fluid levels, such as your washer fluid, which would be easier if I used a funnel, but it wouldn't spill as much. But sometimes I get in a hurry and just don't do things the way I should. But that one is done. Look at the levels of the antifreeze, which is good shape. I would also check the transmission fluid, or well, brake fluid. You can't check the transmission fluid until the motor's running. Brake fluid levels up good. Battery terminals are clean. There's no corrosion on them. Check the belt. Tension's decent on it. The belt, I'm going to have to replace my belt pretty soon. I see a few little cracks in it. We'll do another video on that. Okay, we're back underneath now. It's time to reinstall the drain plug because the oil has drained out of the pan sufficiently, which that's just a reverse process of taking the plug out. Now, you don't want to over tighten these because you can strip them out. A lot of times you'll just strip the plug itself, which is not too bad. You can get replacement plugs at your local auto parts store. But you can also strip out the oil pan. That's not so easy to change. Okay, now we're going to remove and reinstall the oil filter. I don't know if you can see, but right there is the oil filter on this particular vehicle. Okay, I'm going to attempt to show you removing the oil filter from there. But I have to reach under the fender to pull it out. Now I've got the drain pan set underneath because there will be some oil spill. Okay, and there it is. Okay, there is the old oil filter. And I've got a little old deal set up that I use to catch my old oil to recycle it. Okay, once we've got the old filter off, we want to make sure that the gasket came off the filter base, and we want to clean the filter base, which is just use a rag and wipe it off. Make sure there's nothing on it, no contaminants, no dirt, no grit, because that could cause a leak. Okay, the new oil filter, take it out of the box, and the rubber seal, if you don't lubricate it just a little bit, could very easily slip out of place and give you a leak. So take a little bit of your new oil and rub on the gasket itself. Now, reinstalling the new filter is just a reverse of taking it off. Reach under the fender well, get it started. Now, this is on a 2000 Ford Ranger. Some you can access it from underneath the car, some you have to access from the top. But just put it as tight as you can get it with your hand. You do not need to tighten them with a wrench. If you do, you'll never get them off the next time. Now that's the new filter installed. A very important thing, we want to put the new oil back in. Remove the oil cap, get your funnel. Now, I like to clean my funnel out. Make sure there's nothing in it. And then just start pouring your oil in. This particular engine takes 5 quarts. My other vehicle takes 6. Another vehicle that I drive takes 9 gallons. That's a coal truck. We'll get to that one at another time. Okay, and now we're finishing up with the 5th and final quart of oil. And then we're going to check and make sure that it should show over full now, because we have not started the engine and filled the oil filter up yet. Okay, you notice I used the rag to catch any drippings on the oil. Don't want to make too much of a mess. Okay, now we'll pull the dipstick and make sure that we're over full. Yep, we're right at a quart over full, which is good. Now we'll start the vehicle and check for leaks. Okay, we're inside the vehicle now, getting ready to start it. This is my oil pressure gauge. We're going to watch it and make sure it comes up. Okay, there. Now the oil pressure has come up. Now the next thing is, while it's running, we're going to go. Okay, right in this point, I guess my SD card got full and I lost half this section. What I did was check for leaks on the oil filter and the plug. Now we'll continue with the rest of it. Okay, on this one there are a few points to grease. So first thing we're going to do is clean up the fittings a little bit. So, you know, you don't want to get dirt, gunk and stuff in it. And, well, ease the end of the grease gun on it and give it a shot or two. That's the ball joint. And then there's the tie rod end, which this one doesn't have a lot of grease fittings on it, and some don't have any. But when they do, throwing a little bit of grease at something is going to make it last a whole lot longer. Okay, now I'm going to check the oil level in the rear differential through this plug. Basically, a ratchet, put it in, loosen it up, go ahead and run the plug out, and reach your little finger in and see if you can come out with grease. I did come out with grease. So there is decent oil in the rear differential. And I will repeat this process for the transfer case, and because this one is 4-wheel drive, and the front differential. And you know, naturally you're going to make sure that you put the plug back in and tighten it up. You know, it doesn't have to be super tight. I mean, you don't have to wring the end of the ratchet off or anything. Just tighten it up snug. Ladies, you can do this too. Okay, to this point we have checked and cleaned and blew the dust off the air filter, cleaned it. It wasn't due to be replaced yet. We have removed the oil from the crankcase. We have removed the filter and reinstalled it. We've added the new oil. We've checked some of the fluid levels. And we've checked the rear ends. Now, something that a lot of people, I mean a lot of people, will actually overlook is checking the tire pressures. Now, most people will go and check the tire pressures by going by what it says on the tire. Well, you know, when you go buy tires, they don't check and see what the pressure says on the tire. They check a little tag here in the door. Now on this particular vehicle, it tells me that the air pressure should be 35 pounds cold. Okay, so no matter what the tire tells me, I'm going to go by what the vehicle wants. Because some of your tires want more air than what the vehicle requirements are. This does affect fuel mileage a great deal. I have recently found out myself. So we're going to check the tires now. Simply remove the cap off the plug. You get these at any auto parts store, Walmart, Kmart, they all sell them. And just push it on there, and I'm low on air. I've only got 25 pounds. It's time to add air. Sometimes adding air is fairly difficult. I'm lucky I've got the capabilities of doing it at home. So I just put a little air in it, recheck my values, and I am at 34.5 pounds. And now I'm at 35 pounds in that tire. I will go around, do all 4 of them, and make sure everything else is up to par. And, you know, again, this is just something that anybody can do. Ladies, you can do this. Don't think you can't. The only way that you're going to do this, though, get up off the couch. Get some grime under your fingernails. We'll see you in the next video. Okay, I decided to do a little more on this. You know, when you change oil, you're going to have waste oil. Well, find you something. You can get them. You can get recycled jugs at local auto parts store, local chain merchant stores. But put your oil into a container of some kind and take it somewhere that can dispose of it properly. In my area, I have local garages that actually use the used motor oil in a type of a furnace to heat their buildings. Well, I give my oil to one of these local service stations. Check your area. You may have the same thing.